want to see my secret?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Abby's Window. Welcome to the show, everyone. And we are here live on a Monday evening with you to talk about what happened yesterday. I know we kind of teased this a little bit last night with our review that we did on the pay-per-view and kind of said we're holding off until today. I see some of you are complimenting the opening. That was Jeff's work on that. So yes, great, another great opening by Jeff there on the video. Just a couple of quick things I want to take care of. First of all, I know people have been asking me about Brandy. Unfortunately, the news isn't great. She has had to go back to the hospital today. So please, if you have not already, I know a lot of you have commented on Twitter. Please, give your thoughts, positivity, whatever it is you guys are going to do. Please send that out because she can definitely use that going her way as of right now. So thank you all for joining us. Yeah, man, a lot of people in the chat. Welcome to all of you. Just say a couple of quick welcomes. Moda was again number one. He popped in the chat pretty early. KJ Carter, hello and welcome. Kyle Scully, Joseph Mengendote, welcome to you. Eric Haberman, hello Eric, how are you? We have got Days Fan, how are you, man? We have, let's see who else we've got here. James Chadwick, welcome to you. We have Wrestle News, welcome to you. DJ B Tazzy, welcome to you. And he kind of got back to streaming last night. I was watching a little bit of the show. Good job. Dalton Riley, welcome to you. Chris, welcome to you. Trinard 2000, welcome to you as well. V9 Gaming HD, welcome to you. The Sunny Wolf is here, welcome to you. Dave in Real Life says hi, Joe and Jeff, welcome to you, Dave. We have Nails and NY. Hello, Nails, how are you? I think Nails is over on Twitch, so that's awesome. Killer Sasuke, welcome to you. And yes, so we don't have a lot of time and have a hell of a lot to cover, so let's get right down to it, shall we? First thing I want to do, we got some pictures. Now, I don't know if you guys have all seen these. If you have not, it will be cool to look at. These are pictures of behind the scenes of the Swamp match. Now, these pictures, C Wrestling got these pictures and was good enough to send them over to us. He had them a few days ago, got them from one of his followers who, we kind of messing around looking at them and stuff, not really sure if they were what they said they were, but obviously after seeing the thing last night, we kind of determined that yes, indeed they are. And you could see on that picture, the rocking chair in the middle of the road with the fog in the background. If you look closely at that card in the front, the black card, baseball fans are going to notice, you will see a name on there, and the name is Derek Jeter. And then if you look to your left on that same picture, all the way on the left with the little with the mask on his face, that very well could be Derek Jeter. We don't know. It kind of looks like it could be him. Obviously, it's not confirmed, but they filmed this on a golf course that Derek Jeter plays at a lot. He's a big fan of WWE as well. He has been in WWE events in the past. So yes, very, very cool. Jake said Gary posted them. Yeah. C Wrestling sent them along to Gary as well. So yes, Gary Cassidy, our good friend, has posted these up as well. There's another shot right there where you can see shots of the palm trees. On the left, of course, the little bridge and stuff like that, and then the little body of water going underneath it. So you could see that they filmed it on a golf course. So you could see that in the background as well. You could see the wood planks there in the middle, some tents and stuff that were set up, and that was the area right there where Braun kind of attacked Braun, and he hit him with the shovel. That was the area from that. And then we go to the last one that we have. And again, you could see the structure on the left-hand side, that white structure that we saw everybody in last night. We saw Braun chained up inside. That is the white structure that they used there. So pretty cool stuff when you can see all the behind the scenes stuff. And we just wanted to share those with you guys tonight. So let's see if anybody else joined us. Bam joined us. Bam Widden. Swamp match was epic. I went back and watched it twice if I could see if I could spot Easter eggs. Yes, I've already been through more than a few viewings myself. We've got, who else came into the chat? We have Sincere Meteor. Hello to you. So let's dig in, shall we? We talked about this a little bit last night. And of course, as always, I've got my co-host Jeff is here with me, and Jodie is here too. So Jodie, I guess let's get started here, and you can kind of lead us into where we're going to go here.
Actually, had a little Twitter conversation, well, kind of a Twitter conversation with Kyle today about this. And he just said, the imagery, the jump scares, the storytelling, like you will never find another person that's as good as Bray is.
Yeah. I mean, it was very much like a horror film. Obviously, the sign that's in the picture there, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." You do notice that is a sign on the Funhouse as well, except instead of the Funhouse saying "enter," it says "exit."
So does that mean that sign is on the other side of the door?
Yeah, I mean that's a theory going around as well. Well, you know what? Let's get right into this. So. Okay. The first thing I want to talk about here is let's get into the part where we know Braun went inside, and when he went inside, he got attacked by himself. So that was the first thing we kind of saw. So, I mean, going right from there, is that a manifestation of what? I don't know. I mean, was this, and I guess a lot of us are going to start thinking, is this stuff in Braun's mind? I kind of went by the fact that when he got bit by the snake, everything after that could have been a fever dream from the snake bite. With the whole Alexa thing and everything like that. And that's why he saw her, because he saw someone he knew from his past. And he kind of went towards that. So I don't know. Was this right off the bat a battle between Braun, and is this more of a Funhouse thing and playing out in Braun's mind than it is a real thing?
I think if you compare this to the WrestleMania match, and it says, abandon all hope, ye who exit here. And then it took Cena into his own personal hell. I think this is what we got with Braun. It was similar to the Funhouse match in that we were witnessing Braun's personal hell. And obviously, with the Alexa thing, WWE's been hinting at that for a long time, that, Braun has a crush on her and they've got so much history together. Even when they were doing their mixed tag team stuff, like they really built on that. And obviously they're close in real life as well. So I think this was walking through Braun's own personal hell. And I think him beating himself up in the beginning was about facing those inner demons.
Yeah, it would seem that way. I mean, it would a lot of it would seem that way. Joseph says, Funhouse sign says, abandon all hope, ye who exit here. And Swamp sign says, abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Originates from Dante's Inferno. Yes, I have read Dante's Inferno several times. I think the Funhouse is supposed to be in hell. Yeah, very, very well could be. I mean, we're going to go into that comment a little bit later where cult leader Bray is saying to Braun where he has been. And obviously he tells him he's dead and that he's been locked away inside of his own body. So that part of it I love, because I love the psychological stuff here. I always love the part about the multiple personalities and things like that. And if that's the case, then yes, I mean, we all saw that, right? We saw Funhouse Bray kind of kill this personality early on in the Funhouse and kind of bury it. So that would make a lot of sense. That would make a lot of sense. So yes. Then of course we went to the scene where Braun is chained up inside of the shed and he's talking to cult leader Bray. And again, he's talking about all this stuff, really kind of still trying to get him to join him here. Was not saying he was going to attack him in any way, still saying he wanted him to join his side. So, I know a lot of you guys had said and had talked about, is there going to be a faction here? Is he going to rejoin him again? Well, after the end of it, it looks like that's not going to be the case.
No.
But, obviously it looked like this is what they were going for here.
I think the snake part, it would definitely lead me to believe that everything after that is a hallucination.
Yeah, it kind of would seem that way. I mean, obviously we had that kind of a thing with John Cena as well in the Funhouse.
Mm-hmm.
You really didn't know what was real, what was not until even the very end when the Fiend came out, like he did in this match as well. You didn't really know if this was all like mind games going on and just stuff going on inside of Braun's head. I'm really curious, and I know a couple of you had made comments out there about this too. I'm going to be really curious if when Braun does come back. Now, there's rumors saying that he's gone off TV for a little bit. Maybe he's going to take a couple weeks vacation in the summer, whatever the case might be, but he's off of TV for a little bit is the rumor. Whether or not that's true, we'll see. But if he is indeed off TV for a little while, I'm curious to see whether or not when he does come back, he's going to confront Alexa Bliss and he's going to say something to Alexa about all this. I really would love to.
What did you do to me?
Yes, like something similar to that, because that would be an awesome part of the storyline if he did that. And Alexa just kind of looks at him like he's nuts and has no idea what he's talking about, of course, and stuff like that.
About?
Yeah, I would like that because I really think it would be a nice addition to the storyline. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, WWE has a bad tendency of when you go a couple of weeks down the road, things start, they figure everybody kind of starts to forget about parts of the storyline and they don't really continue things from there. So we'll see. But it's going to be exciting to see if that does indeed happen. Nail says Alexa must be scared of snakes because it wasn't her holding the snake. Yeah, that picture there, Jeff. I don't know. Do we have that picture? The picture of the person holding the snake. There you go. If you look at that, okay. If you look at that picture, that person looks to be wearing a doll face mask. If you really look at that picture and doll face masks, if you guys have ever seen, oh my goodness, what was the serial killer movie? It was something about a home invasion where 3 people were inside these. That's it. Yep. Thank you. Yes, that's it. That looks like the mask from that film. That looks like a doll face mask that person is wearing. So obviously the veil, the snake. Does this represent Abby as well? It very well could. But yeah, that you can kind of see through the veil that is not Alexa Bliss's face at that point.
I think it was a snake handler. Maybe they just used the mask to cover up her face so that when we saw her later, it's Alexa.
Yeah, that very well could be. I agree. Could be. I mean, they had to have people that handle the animals, of course. Mm-hmm. So it very well could be a good explanation for that. There is Days. Hello, Wrestling Days. No idea how you guys were covering everything in an hour. Yeah, it's not going to be easy, man. It's going to be tough to do. But yeah, so obviously this was not Alexa here. Alexa came in, of course, after he woke up from his the snake bite, and then the next part he wakes up to, and this was the part that was a little tiny bit weird for me. He woke up by the fire, and then there was another guy out there just attacking him. So obviously, let's cover from the beginning too. At the beginning, of course, we saw the manifestations of the puppet. You saw the rabbit, you saw the buzzard, and you saw the boar. So the physical manifestations of the puppets, as you can see in the picture there that Jeff was good enough to put together for us. So yes, we saw those. And then we saw him get attacked as well early on by 2 men in what looked like to be black cloaks. Both kind of had longer hair. So, is that a representation of Rowan and Harper? Maybe.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like that. It seemed like that. We don't know whether or not it was, but obviously a lot of people thought Rowan would be here. We did not see Eric Rowan, and obviously that's probably a good chance we aren't going to see Eric Rowan again. I'd imagine if he was coming back, he would have been in this in some capacity. So I don't think we're going to see Eric Rowan anymore. So yes, when he woke up. He was at the fire, and then of course we see the stunt guy there that gets lit on fire, which
was awesome.
It was cool, but it was a little confusing. Like I didn't really know then at that point who that guy was supposed to be. Because Rowan and Harper, okay, I get that. But I don't know. Is this guy like the caretaker of the swamp? And he just ends up getting lit on fire. I mean, it was a cool effect. Don't get me wrong. And of course, there was a stunt man. But yeah, I kind of didn't really get the part about that. Didn't really understand where that led into.
I think that was more about Braun's descent into the darkness.
Could be a good way to explain it. I mean, look, if he's descending into his own mind and it is about Dante's Inferno and we're talking about the gates of hell and all that kind of stuff, you would see on every level of hell you're going through, you would see all of this suffering and things like that. Mm-hmm. Joseph Mengendot says Eli Cottonwood. Oh, man. Yeah. Fireman Sam was his name, says Dave in real life. Yeah, we don't really know what that dude's name was or what the purpose was, but yeah, I mean, the imagery obviously was the big thing there. James says those two blokes look like wearing the same ring clothes that Rowan and Harper used to wear. Yes, I agree, and I think that's what they were going for there. Would make a lot of sense because they would be the guys who would be beating up Braun first, of course, before he got to Bray.
Well, think about that too. If they're supposed to signify Rowan and Harper, and Braun set one of them on fire, he just even turned his back on his family even more now.
True. Yeah, very true. Meme Collector says, in the build-up to this match, Bray said that a part of Braun would live in the swamp forever. Rambling Rabbit said that Cena would play with them forever after the Funhouse match. Connection? I'm sure there is.
I'm sure there is too.
Usually what Bray does all kind of connects into everything else. So I am sure that there probably is a lot of connection. Oh, in fact, I have to credit, you know what? I don't remember who said this, and if any of you are in the chat, please tell me. But someone came up with a connection last night with 1119. Do you remember back when he had the clock for Abigail? And yes, the clock said 1119. Well, somebody put up that there's a connection with Alexa Bliss in 1119.
Really?
Is it Alexa's birthday? I don't remember. Please tell me if somebody is in the chat that sent this to me last night, because I meant to, of course, remember this, and I'll go back and look on on Twitter later on if I can't remember it. And yes, I think I did too. Nail said I tweeted it out. So check our Twitter, because I do believe there was a connection to the 1119. So go and check that out as well. So there you go. That's a perfect example of going back to things that we had talked about before, and he just like he brings them back. So again, pretty amazing.
We're also missing the secret Funhouse episode we got in the beginning, which was amazing.
Yeah, when Bray turned into host horror show, host of a black and white horror show. Yeah, I dug that. That was a kind of that's a fallback if some of you guys are younger and you've never seen it. There was stuff back in the day on PBS, a little channel called PBS, where free television, where we used to get Sesame Street and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But yeah, there used to be a horror show on there that used to come on at night. They used to show black and white horror films. Yeah. And they'd always have a guy who dressed up as a really bad looking vampire that was the host of those shows. So yes, that was a definite play on that, and that was really cool. Really cool. I enjoyed it. Of course, yes, Bray, rooting for Braun at that point, and obviously that was a kick back to Funhouse Bray, because he's dressed up in a costume and kind of rooting for Braun there. So yes, that was a really cool part.
Alexa returned to SmackDown on 11/19.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. Somebody said that there was a connection to 1119 and her, so there you go. Moda says the fire scene is when we first started to see Braun cracking and shades of black shy Braun trying to come out. Okay, black sheep. I think he means black sheep Braun. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. DJ said, love the Secret Firefly Funhouse last night. Yes, was very cool that they put that in. I loved it.
Oh, they said the person who said it about 11:19 said that Alexa appears 11 minutes and 19 seconds into the match.
Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. Yep. That's it. That's correct. That was what I put out on Twitter. So pretty cool, huh? I mean, details.
That's what Bray's good at.
They're going to time that out like that. That's pretty impressive. And if they go all the way back to that is pretty impressive. AJ Carter said Bray Wyatt is playing games with Braun, like He-Man and Skeletor. Another Skeletor reference, man. I gotta love it. The shadow for Friday the 13th movies. Yes, look, I got my share of Friday the 13th references. I'm pretty happy with that.
Oh,
lot of stuff from the water. Lot of just the jump scares from the water, things like that. Yes, a lot of that they said was Friday the 13th influenced, and you could definitely see it in there. EJ Movement says, I'm disappointed how mixed the reactions were for it, to be honest. I can understand if the matches weren't for everyone, but it went over way too many people's heads. Well, you know what? To be fair, EJ, I think the Funhouse one did too. You got a lot of people kind of ripping it. Last time, I know that Dave Meltzer did. I know a couple other people who do wrestling shows kind of ripped it. I just don't think that they get it that, look, you're not watching a match. And this wasn't a match. This was a fight.
It was a
fight.
Called
it, right. They called it a swamp fight, and that's what it was. It wasn't a match. It wasn't a traditional match. And I think people are kind of maybe comparing all this stuff now to the Boneyard match. That was a match.
Right.
That was a match in a cemetery. So that's the difference. And I don't think, and we'll get into this a little bit later too, because I have a theory about the whole thing about whether, what is the reason behind the fact that it doesn't seem like Bray, especially the Fiend, is in matches lately. So I'll get into my theory about that in a little bit later.
I think it's a lot too. I feel like the people who really, really liked it are old Bray fans. You know what I mean? That understand how his old character, how Cult Leader Bray operated. And so I think the people who didn't get it are like I've said before about the WrestleMania match, they're Fiend fans, not Bray fans. They love this new character that he's coming out with, but they haven't gone back and watched his old stuff.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. And you kind of do have to have the whole story here. He does go back to that character a lot, even when when Cult Leader Bray isn't around. So,
yeah.
All right. So let's get to the big moment, shall we? And a lot of people's favorite moment of this match. So when Braun gets up from the hole after the dude burned in the fire and kind of went off into the woods, of course, he hears a voice. And the voice is calling out to him, Braun. And then he looks over at the pier and a person comes up to him and we get a huge reveal. The hood comes off and it is Alexa Bliss. Daze is in the chat. I know Daze went absolutely ballistic. It's the first time I heard him screaming in a while, so that was funny. Look, it was a big moment. It just was. A lot of people were going crazy because, look, a lot of you guys wanted a physical manifestation of Abigail, right? That's been something that everyone has been talking about forever and ever and ever. Liv Morgan, many other people, obviously Tamina when she did that video too. Everybody associated her with Abby and stuff like that. And you guys have wanted a visual representation of this character, and you know what? They gave it to you. Whether or not she is really Abigail is highly doubtful. It's not the case. It was part of the illusion, and it was part of the fever dream. It was part of Braun going back to his past, and Dave said that in his video yesterday too, that he didn't believe it was her. Obviously, this is not. So let's everybody get this. Clear your minds a little. Alexa Bliss is not Abigail. She was for this intent and purpose, and Jodie said this last night on the video that everyone has a different manifestation of what Abby looks like, right? Abby is a spirit, and when she comes up, she appears to you as kind of what she needs to appear to you as. almost like a demon kind of a thing, maybe, a little bit of a temptation and stuff. And he went towards her because he trusts Alexa because they teamed up together in the past. So that's really all it is here. But listen, was it a great moment? Was it very cool? Absolutely. It was very
it was a great moment. It was a great moment. And like I said last night, I think we have to remember who Abigail is, that she's an entity and she will take the form of whatever she needs to get to whoever she needs to. Like when Bray talks about her, she was this mother figure. So he saw her differently than Braun did. And I think you could tell that, by the way they were showing all the old clips with Braun and Alexa together. And it was a great moment. I think it would be neat if they played into it going forward. And, maybe this was a little bit of, obviously Bray had creative control of this. Maybe this was his way of giving us what everybody wanted in a way that made sense to the story.
Yeah, I agree. And look, obviously Bray sees your comments. Bray hears people talking, and I'm sure he knows that everybody wanted a glimpse of Abigail at some point. So, so you got it. This was, whether or not she was it, which is, like I said, highly, highly doubtful. You got a manifestation of Abigail, so it was pretty awesome. Nail says, my reaction was, is it Liv after all that? And then she says, it was Alexa. No way, dude. And then I wanted Braun and Alexa to get married and live happily ever after. Oh, V9 Gaming HD says the Alexa Bliss Sister Abigail thing was great. She's not Sister Abigail. She's dead, in caps. The Fiend killed her years and years ago. That's why she's on the wall of friendship. Yes, great shout out. Great shout out. Monica King says Little Big Heart. Wrestling Days fan says she's not Abigail. Eric Haberman says wrong hair color for me. You really don't know. I mean, I guess we kind of always pictured her as having that black, the evilish looking hair that you get on the ghost kind of characters. But yeah, a younger manifestation of Abigail could have had blonde hair. We don't know. That was before she died and turned into a ghost. So we're not really sure, but yeah, who knows? But
I
listen,
think going forward, he'll continue to do things like that. Like, maybe we'll get different manifestations of Abby based on who he's fighting.
Right.
And I think Moda just said it too. She's a weapon, much like Bray said Braun was. Mm-hmm. So that's how he's using her. And going forward, if it makes sense to the story, we'll see somebody else play her that will play on somebody else's mind.
Yeah, I would think if you're going to have mind games down the road with Randy Orton, you're going to get a really sick, scary ass looking Sister Abigail for that match.
Yes, he set her on fire.
Yep.
So maybe you get some kind of burned physical manifestation of Abby that's, been set on fire.
Yeah, yeah. Dave says she's not Sister Abigail. She's just a very naughty boy. Oh, okay. All right. Hey, yeah. Look, like I said, great moment in this match. There's no doubt about it. People freaked out. I think everyone did.
Not the highlight of the match for me, though. I said the same thing last night. I feel bad for Bray if that's the big talking point from that match.
Well, we'll get there because we've got a lot more to go here. So then, of course, we get to the actual fight. And then it goes on. Of course, they start to battle a little bit. And he gets the best of Cult Leader Bray, and Cult Leader Bray ends up. Yeah, there you go. You see the picture of them fighting in the water there. Cult Leader Bray ends up in that boat. And then Braun kind of pushes the boat out, and the boat goes way out to sea, or at least you're kind of made to think that. But the boat goes out. And then the boat comes back. And again, this is where the Friday the 13th stuff kind of plays in, because there were scenes in boats. Obviously, you had part 6 where Tommy was in the boat looking for him in the water, and then boom, jump scare, he comes out of the water. And that's kind of what they went for here. He comes back, nothing in the boat. Braun's looking all around. Boom, jump scare, and Cult Leader Bray comes out of the water. He used the mandible claw. Am I right, Jodie? I believe we saw the mandible claw.
Yes, we did. Also, my initial thought when I saw the boat was I I wonder if that was a nod to the Ultimate Deletion match that he had with Matt Hardy.
Yeah, very much so. I would agree, very much so. And if you look at Matt Hardy's Twitter, he did put a picture of a boat. So there you go. No commentary on it, just a picture of a boat.
Because that's what Matt did.
Mm-hmm.
He
yes, he did.
Appeared under the boat, and then he flipped the boat over, and it was somebody else. I cannot for the life of me remember that dude's name. But yeah.
We know they are friends in real life, and we know that Bray has taken some storyline stuff from Matt as well, the storytelling part of it, so I would not doubt that at all. But the jump scare was good. I liked it. I enjoyed the jump scare. They had, kind of perfect timing there. It's hard to get those across sometimes, especially on a small TV and stuff like that. You're always kind of thinking it's coming. But, the delay was good enough to get people to jump when he came out of the water there. And Claw, though, interested me because we never saw him use that. Now, that is the weapon of the Fiend. We have not seen Cult Leader Bray use the mandible claw. So that kind of was surprising a little bit to me. I
think it was an Easter egg to let people know the Fiend is coming.
Could be, yeah.
He was starting his transition into the Fiend.
Yeah, good call. It could be. It's been a while since he used that. Of course, we saw the glove on that hand as well, if you notice. So he did have the covering on that hand as well. So yeah, it was kind of interesting to see the mandible claw there from him. Monica wants to know how many times have you rewatched the Swamp match? I have now watched it 5 times. I didn't want to get into the same boat I was with the Funhouse match because I watched that once and I was just boggled, and then I watched it again, but I didn't watch it for a few days later, so I kind of let it simmer for a bit and then watched it again. But yeah, this one I wanted to go back and watch several times because I knew there would be things in there. Listen, and I think C Wrestling brought this up on a video too. Did anyone catch the eyeballs before I forget?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the eyeball jar, shall we? Kind of interesting, right? Because
we talked about this on the phone last night because I was up until 2 a.m. talking to him on the phone.
Oh, there you go.
We talked about this theory that, with the eye for an eye match, Seth kept saying that it was a sacrifice. So is that a connection that he sacrificed his eyeball to the Fiend?
I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, you definitely knew it was eyeballs. I mean, it could have been a jar of onions, but then you saw the one that you knew was an eyeball in the jar. So yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Like, it's crazy storytelling. Now listen, I
wouldn't put that past Bray at all.
There may never be a connection with Seth. Like, you may never see Seth admit it or Seth say anything about it, but the fact that he's kind of referring to other parts of, the people that he changed and things that are going on with them, again, you may never see them acknowledge it because it's no longer part of their story. So you may never see them say anything about it, but the thing is there. And I remember going back when this whole thing first started, and I remember reading that they were saying that a lot of the other wrestlers in the back wanted to work with Bray because they absolutely loved the storyline and they loved being part of the storyline. So, if that's the case, and that's true, obviously Seth was working with him for a long time last year. And if that's true, then, they probably kind of dig this, right? Like, hey, your storyline's kind of intertwining with mine and stuff like that. Listen, Disney made a fortune with the Marvel movies because of this. Every movie kind of intertwined with the other. And when you do like an extended universe type thing like this, that could very well be. And it's just a neat shout out. It might never ever come to pass. But it was a neat shout out. Dave says, as for Ray's eye, there was a quick medical update saying they can save his eyesight. Yes, I did see that. Yeah, well, listen, modern technology, when an eyeball pops out, you can pop it, jam it back in there. As long as there's no nerve damage, you're fine. You're all good. You're all good. So anyway, let's get back on track. So yes, we got the jump scare, and then after that we had Bray attacking Braun. There's the picture of the mandible claw, and then Bray came out, started attacking Braun with that oar, started beating him up with the oar, and just kind of screaming at him, "Look what you're making me do." So again, at that point, he's still still kind of didn't, really seem like he didn't kind of want to hurt him. And so even to that end of that, before they ended up back in the water again, still he just, even to that point, just felt like he didn't want to hurt him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's right to the end, it just seemed like Cult Leader Bray just wanted him to. Well, look, he's Cult Leader Bray.
He wanted him to come home.
He wants to have a cult, right? I mean, that's that personality. That personality wants to have a faction. He's a leader of a faction. He's a leader of a cult, and cult leaders are nothing without their followers. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, and so this is really the last follower he could possibly have now, because the other guys are not there anymore. So this is a plea to Braun that, hey, I don't want to do this. We could rule the world. He told him that earlier on. So, what does that mean? And I love how he referred to this world too, because obviously he meant everything that's going on outside and stuff like that. And what happens, like when things like this happen, like when there's when you see a movie and there's a zombie apocalypse, there's always somebody who comes out of it that ends up being a cult leader who starts a big revolution of the people that are left. So that's, that could be very much what he meant. Like, we can easily rule the world. Yes, and then they go in the water and they disappear. And this was cool too. They put the credits up. They put the little hashtag up on the bottom of the screen.
And it went quiet.
Yes, completely quiet. The hashtag went up on the bottom of the screen like it was over. And, everybody's like, is that it? Is that it? I even had a few people texting me saying, is that it? Is it over? And then, no, sir. We got the red water. We got the bubbling red water. And then there's the red water. That didn't trigger on me right away. Like, it took me a few seconds and I'm like, it's the red lights. It's the red lights. It took me a bit. I didn't get it.
You can't kill it under the red lights.
I didn't get that right away, but it took a little bit. Did you see that Bray was getting pulled under at the end of the match? Who was pulling him under, Braun or The Fiend? Yeah, well, I'm sure. If the Fiend wants that personality gone, I'm sure it probably was The Fiend. He probably pulled them both down. And then who comes out but The Fiend? We have not seen The Fiend in a while, guys. We have not seen him since WrestleMania, since the Funhouse match. We have not seen him in a ring in quite some time. Go back to the Daniel Bryan feud. We have not seen him since then. We have a Fiend sighting, and we have seen The Fiend. Now, let's go forward with this. Where do we go from here? Because we can't leave off without discussing what is going to happen next. Now, the rumors are that someone is going to disappear from TV. Now, it would make sense. It's either going to be Bray or Braun, right? Well, I obviously the Cult Leader Bray character is probably gone. The Fiend coming out probably suggests that he's gone. And then is Braun now going to be disappeared off TV? I think Joni and I were talking about this a little bit last night. Or is Bray going to go away for a while again? And now he has a tendency to do that after pay-per-views. Yep. So we've seen that before. And Jody brought up a good point and said, well, Braun's the champ. So can the champ be off of TV, even if it's for 2 weeks? Do they want him off of there that long? And some are suggesting that now the Fiend is back and you're going to see the Fiend in the ring or attacking people in the ring or back to his old tricks that we remembered from before. So what do you got? Tell us what you guys think. Do you guys think that Braun is out for a bit now? Do you think that Cult Leader Bray is probably gone? I think that's safe to say. I think Cult Leader Bray's, that manifestation of that personality is probably gone for a while until he needs it back again. But I think that's pretty safe to say. But I guess, do you think is Bray out or is Braun out? And if Bray's out, if Braun is out, do you think we get to see now the Fiend doing some dirty work, back on SmackDown again. And obviously we would see a Funhouse episode, and then maybe the Fiend comes out and does some attacking while Braun is out of there, and he just comes out, maybe attacks some random people, who knows. But yes, tell us what you think. Moda says, I think Braun will go away for a few weeks and then come back to set up the title match at SummerSlam. Yes, after SummerSlam, we won't see Braun again for a little while. The other question, Jodie, is Braun changed?
Yes. I do think he will come back a changed man because the Fiend was involved. Yep. You know, we got the red water, we got the red lights, we saw the Fiend. If it would have ended with cult leader Bray and Braun going in the water, I would say no, because he hasn't been changed yet. I think the Fiend was able to return because he was changed.
Yep.
He's like, okay, all right. But you know, I definitely do think the Fiend needs to have the last laugh, so to speak. So that's why I think this is going to go on to SummerSlam. Yeah. And we will see the complete transition of Braun. I think he'll be different, but not quite all the way yet. And let's not forget who the creative mind is behind all of this. So if they're saying someone's going to disappear from TV for a while, I wouldn't put it past Bray to, you know, swerve us a little bit. And, you know, like I said, it wouldn't make sense for Braun to disappear for a while. So I think that was his way of saying cult leader Bray is done for a while until he comes up with, you know, he goes on to his next feud where cult leader Bray is appropriate, like Randy Orton, like Roman Reigns, some other feud where cult leader Bray was heavily involved that he needs to bring him back for.
Yep.
So I think we see the Fiend. I think cult leader Bray is done for now. I think we see the Fiend going forward.
And again, you can look at it this way too. And I think that cult leader Bray, again, like Funhouse Bray, failed because Funhouse Bray tried to get him to turn. Cult leader Bray seemed like to the very end, before they went into the water, he was still trying to get him to turn. So both of those personalities are trying to get him on their side, so to speak. And maybe the Fiend personality is like, you know what, this isn't working.
That's why I think it was the Fiend that pulled Bray under the water. That was the Fiend going, all right, you're done. This is over. It's my turn.
The Fiend personality took over, and yes, that absolutely could very well be. Chalmers says, "Do we know that Bray or Braun are the one disappearing, or did I miss when they said that?" No, they didn't. There's rumor again, Chalmers. There's rumors out there that had said when they were talking about the backstory and how Vince McMahon wasn't involved, and then they said that someone was supposed to turn heel and someone was going to go off TV. So that's where we're coming up with that from. Nail says, I find Braun super one-dimensional and rather boring. Okay. You're big and you shove people all over and repeat yourself. Under Bray, you were the same, except didn't talk. I hope Bray moves on. I think it's going to go to SummerSlam like everyone else. I think the feud will end at SummerSlam. That question, which we could save for a future show, is Bray going to win this title back? Because we all have talked about that before. Do they want him with that title back again, or has this all been to turn Braun heel? Because listen, we talked about this at the very beginning of this feud. Is this all a way to turn Braun heel? And if he's turning him back heel again, that would be right in time for after SummerSlam to feud with the next person, whoever they decide to pick. And we are seeing pictures of Roman Reigns working out in the gym. Looks like maybe he's getting ready. Is he getting ready to come back? And if so, is that the next feud? Is it going to be Roman and Braun? And is Braun at that point going to be a heel? So, look, it's. Listen, Jeff has been doing amazing work with all these pictures. Jeff, listen, got to tell us, man, what do you think? What do you think going forward? Where do you think this is going? Do you think Bray has turned heel yet, or what do you think is going to happen leading into SummerSlam?
So, yeah, I think that we're going to definitely see a change from Braun. I wouldn't be surprised at some point, maybe even after that match, to start seeing him with that boar mask, because it's really interesting that that was the first thing that we saw. Is that
Yes.
the board?
Yep. Good call.
So that was very interesting. But I've got a question for you two guys.
Sure.
Just to get your thoughts on something.
Mm-hmm.
What if all of this was set up by the Fiend? That he sent Funhouse Bray out there first, and he knew he wasn't going to get the job done. Then they're able to bring back Cult Leader Bray because they know that's what will start the crack in Braun. And the Fiend did all of this just to set this up because he knew that he was going to come back and destroy Braun and finish the job completely, but he wanted to wear him down first or make him a stronger opponent for when they face each other at SummerSlam.
That's a great call, dude. Look, whenever you have these, I always go back to this movie. I always go back to the movie Split. And if you guys haven't seen it, it's a great movie. Watch it. Very much so about multiple personalities and things like that. And in that movie, he had a personality called the Beast. And the Beast was the personality that always came out, and the Beast meant people were going to die. I mean, that was how that movie went down. There was a passive personality. There was a couple other personalities kind of in between, middle ground, but there was always the Beast. Well, the Fiend is the Beast. The Fiend is the personality that gets things done. He comes out and takes care of what needs to be taken care of and finishes the job. So that's a great shout, Jeff, because, yes, I definitely agree. What do you think, Jody?
Yeah, I could see it either way. Honestly, I think it could be that, I mean, if you liken it to, boxing or something like that, you've got to soften up your opponent first before the big part of the fight. So I could definitely see it, being set up the Fiend to be that way, that he's kind of softening him up a little, to make it easier on him, not necessarily make it easier on himself, but to make it, a simpler task for him to be destroyed. So I could definitely see it that way. And somebody just said it in the chat, but if going forward it's going to be Braun versus Roman Reigns, to make that story better, you have to have a heel versus a face. So Braun needs to turn if he's going to go up against Roman.
Yep, I agree. Let's see. Meme Collector says, to me, the most logical thing to do is have the Fiend take Braun's title at SummerSlam, then have Braun change by becoming 2017 version of himself, a destructive monster. I'm so torn. I know that a lot of people really want to see Bray get that title back. I get it. When you're a fan of a wrestler, you want to see them have that belt. So everybody kind of wants that. Man, I don't know. I'm very torn with that question because I
think at SummerSlam it's got to go one of two ways. Either Bray, because Bray has to emerge victorious either way for the Fiend to have said, I accomplished my mission and I destroyed him. So that would mean either he's got to win and take the belt, or he's got to get Braun to go too far.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. That's got to be really the only. And I wonder if there is going to be stipulations to this match. This could very well end up being a cage match. It could end up being, something along those lines of a different kind of a match. And again, listen, we could see more cinematic stuff too. Because obviously we're not getting fans back in the building, so they can very well easily turn toward another type of cinematic match, and goodness only knows, do we get a cabin match finally?
I love
that we had seen the art for from Kyle, and I love the reference that Jeff brought back to that boar mask that we all saw Bray share. Let's get a good look at you was his comment when he shared that mask. So, man, is Bray gonna have a new mask? Is he going to wear this? That is that boar mask going to be the mask that he wears going forward? Whew, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Sean says keep the cinematic matches going. Yeah, man, I'm digging it. I am digging it. Nail says Bray is being booked like Samoa Joe, where everyone believes in him and everything he says, and then they go give him a pay-per-view loss. I know this wasn't a loss or a win, but I don't trust WWE decisions. Yeah, Vince makes some goofy decisions. Just have to hope he kind of stays out of the picture. I know we read today in the news that he was the one who decided to change that whole ending of the Asuka match too.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, we all know what Mr. McMahon is thinking in the back is only in Mr. McMahon's head. We obviously don't get it a lot of the times, and I don't get it, and I don't know if he gets it. So yes, we just don't know what's going on in Vince's head sometimes. EJ Movement said something. I think the cinematic stuff with Wyatt should be put aside. It's starting to backfire on him, to be honest. Okay, all right. That's another opinion, obviously. Okay. Dave says if it's a Fiend, then it is to be then it has to be a darkness match. Darkness, okay. Well, that would be a little hard to see if it was complete darkness, but hey, Vince Russo in disguise. Oh man, Vince Russo in his heyday, I think, was making some better stories. Yes. So listen, let us know what you thought of this match. You guys are all letting us know all throughout the match. Obviously, there is a lot of stuff to take in. I thought it was great. I thought it was really well done. Jeff, let us know what you thought as far as the entire match goes. Have you watched it again? Did you catch anything else that when you watched it a second time?
I've watched this match probably 4 times,
Okay.
I think, at this point. I keep going back to some of the things that Bray said. He said, "You can't kill me. I'm already dead."
Yep.
And he was very adamant in the same thing where he said, "I'm not going back. It doesn't matter what happens. I'm not going back." So I think that's all in reference to the Fiend. But also, when he was beating Braun with the oar and he was yelling, "Look what you made me do," I don't think he was talking to Braun. I think he was talking to the Fiend.
Oh, nice call. Yeah, nice call. Yeah. Look, again, this whole split personality thing is really cool, and again, they're doing, Bray's doing a great job with the writing on it because it's one personality clashing with the other. Obviously, going back to like Jodie said to Matt, Matt Hardy and to the Lake of Reincarnation and all of that stuff, and how it's like they're fighting with an inner demon in the Fiend. The Fiend is the epitome of darkness, the bad guy of all of the personalities, even worse than any of them, worse than Cult Leader Bray, worse than obviously Funhouse Bray is the jovial one. So they're constantly at that struggle, and the struggle is always to keep the other personality down. And like Jeff said, when Cult Leader Bray says, "I'm never going back," well, that often is how those other personalities are. They don't want to be hidden back away. They want to stay out in the forefront. They don't want to be taken away. So yeah, great point. Great point.
One thing that Bray said that really stood out to me, and I can't get it out of my head, is when he told Braun, "I am not your enemy." And to me, that sounded like he was implying, "I'm not your enemy, but he is."
Yeah, that's that great point too. Yeah, you got to listen to the little things because a lot of times the little things is what you need to pay attention to, like that 11-19 thing. I mean, who would have thought that would come back? So kind of crazy, right? Moda says we got an indirect Wyndham reference. I think Bray said that Wyndham is the key. Bray said he had been rotting in a pit with no control over himself. I think he was talking about Wyndham. Okay. Yeah. Again, going back quite a way when, he mentioned the name Wyndham, and Wyndham was the key, that's going back to all this history. And you gotta remember, Bray can pull this kind of stuff out anytime he wants. And you have to remember all of that kind of stuff. So we obviously did get some alligator shots, which I know Jodie was looking forward to, kind of the whole man in the woods thing, which we didn't get that directly, but, you did get the Fiend coming out of the swamp, and you got the crocodile references as well. So that was in there also. I look, from start to finish. It's funny, wasn't it, how it started out a lot like the Boneyard match, where Bray's just kind of sitting there and the truck comes pulling up, and Braun gets out of the truck. So kind of weird how it just how it started that way, but then obviously it got into the whole craziness right after that. Steve Walker.
We got Bray's old theme.
Yes, we did. That was awesome. Yep, heard the old theme. Absolutely. Steve Walker says Cult of Wyndham. Yeah, man, that's still coming. Apparently, we kind of got screwed out of that a little bit because of the circumstances. But whatever Cult of Wyndham is, it's still on the way. It's still coming. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait a little bit for whatever that was. But it is still out there and it is still coming. So
it's worth the wait.
Yes, it's going to be worth the wait. Sean says, just like any horror movie, you need to watch more than once to understand the full picture. Yes, and DJ B. Tazzy says he wanted more alligators. DJ's a big alligator fan. Loves him alligators. Big Boy says old Braun knocking new Braun off his feet with a shovel was cool. Yeah. I mean, you didn't expect that, did you? Kind of, looked up and you kind of expected to see Bray there with that shovel. Yeah, but it was a manifestation of himself. So, oh, wow. We could keep talking, guys. We could probably talk about this for two more hours and diagnose everything here with you. But obviously, we got to let you guys get out of here. I know Dave has a stream coming up. So, and Raw is coming up soon as well. So listen, final thoughts, Jodie, and we can take it out of here, and we will come back next week. Obviously, we'll see. Is Bray going to show up this Friday on SmackDown? Is there going to be a Funhouse? Is it going to be a Fiend attack? What's going to happen this Friday? Is Braun going to be there? We don't know. And again, like I said, I'd love to see a comment to Alexa Bliss. I'd love it. Obviously, they're on different shows, so. No, they're not actually. No, they're not. That's right. Alexa's on SmackDown. I forgot. Yeah, never mind. They've been bouncing back and forth. I've gotten, I forget sometimes where people go. But yes, do you hear me now? 3 says, let me in. Firefly Funhouse fan says Bray should use some ideas for horror movies. He can make amazing. Yeah, we've said that a bunch of times. Would absolutely love. I'd be the first in line at my local theater to see it. Without a doubt. Jodie, take us out.
I think it was an amazing match. As usual, we're all sitting here talking about what a genius mind Bray has, and I say this every single time he has a match. I think the Fiend was advertised to be on SmackDown this week. Obviously, we'll see. Like I said before, Bray is notorious for not showing up after a pay-per-view. He normally takes a week or so off. So we'll see what happens with that. All of us are along for the ride, and we're just happily floating in Bray's orbit.
There you go, guys. There you go. We're just along for the ride. We're passengers on the Bray train, right?
Yes.
So yeah, and it just gets cooler and cooler. We'd all look forward to this match, and it was awesome. It was the main event. I know a lot of people were hoping that was going to be the case, but there were people saying, no, it's not going to be the main event. It was the main event. Made sense to be the main event in a thing called the horror show. So awesome. Awesome. So as always, guys, our rest of the schedule for the week, obviously we have Impact Wrestling tomorrow night for those who are going to join us for that. We have on Wednesday our Insiders podcast at 10:15. We have on Friday the Hot Tag episode. I'm not sure what Jeff's going to do. We'll get to you about that. And then obviously next week we will be right back here again for another episode of Abby's Window. And I'm sure we'll hear some stuff between now and then. So guys, enjoy your night. Enjoy Raw tonight and enjoy the other wrestling. I know Nail said there's a Ring of Honor thing going on. Enjoy whatever it is you watch with the wrestling community. And take care, everyone. We will see you all next week. Same time, same channel. Join us. We'll talk to you soon.